Welcome to Slasher Sunday. I'm on the road again. No explanation for that. Let's move on. Now, I hope that you guys caught that amazing commercial that Rebecca Reinhardt made me for my merch store that I just launched. Or should I say that she just launched? She actually commissioned Michael Pinheiro, right? Is that how you say his name? To make this shirt, design and everything. She set up the store. She made the freaking commercial. I knew nothing about the commercial at all. I just was sent it by her and thought it was like the most amazing thing ever, and immediately uploaded it like a second later. And she sent me the link to the store. It was all done. It was all ready. She made up that watermelon design herself based on an inside joke in Killer Flicks between me and Drewski McGillicuddy. I've just been so blown away by all of that. I had to share it with you guys, so I really hope that you checked out that commercial. And I would love to see some of you guys wearing one of those shirts. It's it's pretty cool to have a shirt out there. So I look forward to seeing anyone sending me some pictures of them in it. So anyway, so yeah, if you want one of those shirts, by the way, I mean, you can find the link in there. You can find the link in the descriptions below here. But all right, enough of that kind of stuff. Speaking of Rebecca Reinhardt, we're just going to continue to keep talking about this girl. She was at a horror con recently, and she sent me a bunch of pictures of Blu-rays, DVDs, stuff like that. And I had mentioned I had never seen The Slayer, and I wanted to see it. And so a few days later, in the mail comes The Slayer from Rebecca. She never ceases to amaze me. So you can see how high-tech my setup today is. I wrote my notes on the back of a pizza box. So there you go. It's the only paper I could find. Now, this was the first time I had seen this movie, as I had said, and I was really looking forward to it because the cover, I mean, this Blu-ray is awesome, man. It is just freaking so cool. It's got such great special features. Arrow makes such amazing stuff. I love this cover. I love all of it. It's just, I've been wanting to check it out because of that. I know we're not supposed to judge books by their covers, but I can't help it with certain movies. The cover art really does sell me. That being said, I was not much of a fan of this movie. I thought it was mostly pretty boring. And yeah. So let's get into the movie itself. Now, I liked the music in the opening, and then the music just kind of is very repetitive and doesn't feel like horror music almost at all. Although it does create some kind of atmosphere with it, I just found it to be a little repetitive, as I had said. The nightmare that she has in the beginning of this, and well, spoilers obviously, I guess the whole damn movie is a nightmare. And the nightmare, the tail end of her nightmare at the very end is the best part. Anything with this guy, this creature, this monster, you see his hands in the opening of the movie, here attacking her, and then you see his face at the end of the movie attacking her. And I loved everything I saw because I wanted this to be the killer, right? And I mean, I guess he was, but we didn't really get to see him much. And then it ends up all being a dream anyways, or is it? Or I have no idea. The Blu-ray looks great though, so if you are a fan of this movie and you've been wanting to check this out and like, oh, is the transfer good? Hell yeah. It's a 4K scan, and man, it looks incredible. So if you are a fan, pick it up. It's worth it. One of the main characters in this, the main guy character in this, he's shaving in his house and he's going up against the grain. Obviously, he did not watch Lethal Weapon 2, where Roger Murtaugh teaches his kid how to shave, because that's where I learned how to shave. Now, in this guy's defense, this movie, I think, was made before Lethal Weapon 2, and also I don't think many people learn how to shave from watching action sequels. Anyway, so this movie has an island setting, which I'm huge into island settings. In some of the scripts I've written, I use island settings in all of them. I adore island settings. I just love that idea of like, you know, just no matter which way you run, within 5-10 minutes, you're just gonna hit water. Like, you're trapped. And so they get flown into this island on this small little plane, which is probably the scariest thing in this movie to me. You couldn't get me on one of those tiny little planes for any reason. You can't get me on a big plane. Yeah. Did you know that? There's a little fun fact today for you guys. Sinister Cinema Reviews himself is terrified of flying. I won't fly. I won't get in a 747 or anything else. I haven't been in a plane in 16 years. I'm terrified of it. I hate it. I don't like being trapped in there. Yeah, there you go. The more you know, right? Anyway, so they are walking around on this island and there's an abandoned theater. Why there would be a theater on this tiny island with just like one house and it's abandoned, I mean, I would suppose it was abandoned because they didn't have much business. Maybe it was like a travel. Honestly, I was kind of in and out of this movie mentally because I was just getting very bored and I wasn't liking any of the characters at all. And so my brain was like trying to focus in and kind of out and in and out. Oh man, maybe on a second watch one day, maybe I'll give it another chance and I'll like it more. But for today, the theater ends up being a theater. The painting that she had made earlier in the movie, that was the front of the theater. I thought her paintings were really cool, so I liked that, like artistically. And yeah, typical. So these guys fly these girls out to this island, this private island getaway, and all the chicks are doing the whole time as they're walking around is complaining. They see the house they're going to be staying at, and they're complaining. They're like, it looks run down and this and that. And then they get inside, and it's like super nice inside. And they're like, all right, this is nice. Man, look at all this. Not one fucking sorry. Typical. I'm telling you, man, I'm not getting down on women. This has nothing to do with genders here. Just in my experience with a lot of the girls that I've hung out with, not even girlfriends or anything, my brother's girlfriends, stuff like that, they just complain the entire fucking time we're ever doing anything. I remember this one time we played this game called 1890, which I stole from Viva La Bam, if I remember correctly. And so I went and I cut the power out of the house and everything was in darkness and we couldn't use anything. And remember, my brother's girlfriend was complaining the entire time of how annoying it was and how this and that. She wanted the power back on. And then like years later, she brought that up in some conversation. She was like, oh my God, it was like such a fun night. I loved it so much. And I was just like, really? You loved that so much? I think your memory is tainted. Anyway, so this guy gets a baseball bat to the head. He's like this one dude that's on the island, even though they're supposed to be there alone. He gets a baseball bat to the head, and you can clearly see this like prosthetic thing gets crushed, and then the guy's body falls back, and the actor's head just has blood running down it. And it's like, did it just like rebuild itself really quick? It's really funny when they're kind of like spliced together because it's so clearly crushed and then not crushed. Then the other guy gets his head caught in attic doors. I'm guessing this monster or whatever kicked it down. It looked like it just fell on his head and he killed himself, honestly. But this all ends up being a dream, right? So nobody had to be doing it because none of these people even really existed. And then we get more fucked up dreams. Her dreams are like the best part of this movie, honestly. Which then again, she's having dreams within a dream. So I don't know. Life is just a dream within a dream. We get a fishing rod kill here, little nod to Bloodhook. I don't think this is a nod to Bloodhook. This is me giving a nod to Bloodhook because I love Bloodhook and I'm so happy I got that Vinegar Syndrome 1 of 1,000 Blu-rays that they released with the slipcover. I love Bloodhook. But yeah, just wraps around the guy's neck and just drags him out into the ocean. Not enough gore. Very, very little nudity. All that stuff is just kind of lacking in all those really integral, vital parts of a slasher film. The pitchfork kills is pretty cool though, when he sticks it through her chest from the front, and she like gets it, and it comes out her tits, and you can actually kind of see her tits through her shirt, and like they protrude out, like you can actually see them like come out of her shirt. That was a really cool effect. I dug that. I thought that was really well done. And and then it just like after everyone dies, the main chick just like, she does the Alice thing from Friday the 13th, and the Ginny thing from Friday the 13th Part 2, and where it's just like them pushing. I think Chris even does it in Friday the 13th Part 3, if I remember. Trish probably does it in 4. But I don't think Trish does it. But it's just like watching someone board up a house and push furniture in front of the doors and all that for like, not shitting you, man. She's like pushing stuff around and then just sitting in a room and being scared and looking around for 10 straight minutes. That is a lot of fucking like dead time in a horror movie, especially in its final act. So they gotta cut that shit out. These movies really suffer in that way. So then the pilot comes in the room. They were kind of thinking maybe it was that guy who dropped him off in that little plane, that little death trap. And he comes through the door and she shoots him in the chest with a flare gun. It just like lights the whole house on fire. Getting shot with a flare would suck. Not sure it would penetrate your body and go in and like start burning you from there. I don't think it has that kind of power to it, but I don't know. What would it do to the human body if a flare hit it? I mean, I like the one in Friday the 13th Part 5, right? That's a road flare. There's another movie where a guy gets shot with a flare gun in the mouth and you can like see it light up. Tell me what movie that is if you guys can remember, if you know what the fuck I'm talking about, because I can't think of it off the top of my head. And then the monster comes. The monster's really cool looking, but then she wakes up and it's just all a big fucking dream. It's like a big fuck you. Kind of reminds me of Total Recall at the very end. Like it kind of leaves it open, and I was like, oh man, if he wakes up right now, that would ruin this whole movie. So I do like that they leave it a little more ambiguous there and up for your interpretation, as opposed to this one where the kid wakes up and it's like, so the whole movie was a dream? That's it? Like, that's that? Boxing Helena was like that, if I remember correctly. That's so stupid. Anyway, guys, so thank you to Rebecca for making that commercial. Thank you for the Blu-ray. Let me know if you guys have seen this, what you think about it. Am I crazy? You think this is a classic? Is it a favorite of yours? Am I being too harsh on it? I didn't really say a ton bad about it. I was just bored more than anything. So I'm just not going to continue to keep reiterating that over and over. It's just, that was my feeling. So anyway, guys, I'm going to bed. It's really late. And until next week, well, until Monster Monday, tomorrow. Good night.